method results in one or more properties receiving unjust enrichment via tax break, which is in violation of state statute, because their revenue is understated and their expenses are overstated, while another struggling property like ours is penalized with excessive taxes from the overstatement of revenue and understatement of expenses. The equalized averages of the assessor's pro forma method violate the income approach. The assessor failed to account for relevant facts that pertain to subject property. Income approach requires the use of actual income and actual expenses to calculate the NOI. These equalized averages of the assessor's pro forma method is subject to the same critique as the market and sales comparison approach, which ignores special circumstances affecting low-income housing tax credit properties. And these special circumstances include, but are not limited to, unique rents and income restrictions and increased operating costs. This method of valuation is complete departure from assessor's charge to assess fair market value and full and true value that a property will bring in a competitive market, as required by South Dakota Statute 10-6-104, where a willing buyer and a willing seller, each acting prudently with a full knowledge of relevant facts. Ignoring actual historic vacancies, bad debt, and concessions, as well as ignoring the actual historic expenses of the subject property, is a complete deviation from state statute and the income approach to value. Under South Dakota Statute 10-6-119, the director may not adopt a different standard of value because it is to serve as a basis of taxation. This new and capricious method to valuation is in complete violation of this statute. It is evident that the shift in methodology resulted in nearly $800,000 upward adjustment in valuation. We can only conclude, based on the information provided to us by the assessor's office, that this is a blatant attempt to artificially increase the value of property for tax purposes and for the county's benefits. Also, we believe that taxpayers and the public deserve transparency and predictable assessments. These massive shifts in methodology eliminate predictability, and the failure of the assessor's office to provide us with the taxpayer with step-by-step explanation of their calculation as well as their underlying metadata to explain how they reached their conclusion of 55% income to expense ratio and 10% overall vacancies, bad debt, and concession fosters an environment of distrust. So this concludes my presentation.
Okay. So thank you, sir. So there's a lot there. Let's start digging into this. Carla, would your office like to respond?
Yes. Ethan has the floor.
So with this property, it is a low-income property or low-income apartment complex. And because it's a income-producing property, we do need to consider the income approach to value for this property, as we have for all the other low-income apartments in the county as well, which there's 10 low-income apartments, 8 of which did provide us with financial information this year to review. And this property had absorbent expenses compared to all the other properties. And so I don't know if the appellant will be able to answer why this one individual low-income apartment has such higher expenses than, or expense ratios or total expenses, than the other apartment complexes. But that really was the underlying issue here with the difference between our two values. You can see that we did apply 55% expense ratio to the income data provided by the appellant for this property, just like we did for the other 10 low-income apartment complexes as well. That was our median expense ratio for the low-income apartments, which is roughly about 20% higher than the average normal non-rent restricted apartment complexes. We use the same cap rate that we used for all the other apartments in Lincoln County as well. And you can see just based on this slide here that this property is in line with all the other ones as well. So,
what were the high expense areas listed by the appellant?
Administrative expenses.
And did they break down what the administrative expenses were, or was it just a lump sum category?
Lump sum category.
Okay. Anything else?
Do you want to see the income approach? He did note that that wasn't part of the presentation.
Well,
yeah, and
what
yeah,
I-
I forgot to address that part. That was emailed to him on Monday at 8:40 a.m.
So what I would say from an administrative point of view is I think now and into the future, I think when the income approach is used, those materials should be provided to the board.
And I apologize. I did put it in the PowerPoint this morning, and we're using a different copy of the PowerPoint, so it just...
And I understand, and we can easily, you know, administratively distribute those here, or just show them on the screen.
Yeah, say I could put it on the
Go ahead.
PowerPoint. Try to
Go
make
ahead.
this happen.
We have actually provided internal income statement, which provides the breakdown of the administrative expenses, as well as the audited financials.
John, Commissioner Poppins has a question for you.
What was in your
Okay.
income approach per unit? How did that break down?
My income approach per unit. So we have used last year's templates. So we have added our total income, which includes rents, rent assistance subsidy, laundry, and other stuff. And then we have taken out actual numbers of vacancies, losses, and manager concessions. And our effective gross income is $319,799, as compared to the county's $352,307.
Is that, John, I think more to the point, is that the 18,562 per unit? On your PT-17 form, you listed I mean, this is prorated, of course, but it's listed
yes.
as 18,562 per unit, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that's under your income approach.
Correct, yes, using the actual expenses and actual revenues.
I don't know if that answers your question, Commissioner.
Yeah, I was looking for that. I just didn't see it on the PT.
Okay, John, take a beat once. Ethan, go ahead with the income slide if you want to.
Okay, so we did use the provided income for the gross income here. So, you know, the total rent. Some of these apartments can be rented out at the full and true market rent, and others are restricted to the rent. So with low-income housing, it is typically best to use their actual rents. So you can see gross income out of 44 units was $340,900. The rent assistance subsidy is included by law. You cannot use the interest credit subsidy, which are it's like a loan program for low-income developments. And then we also estimated some other income of $9,240. That can be things like a laundry facility, things of that sort, pet income, that type of thing, extra garages. So then we came to a potential gross income of $352,307. We applied our equalized expense rate of 55%. So that gives us an EGI of, well, we don't have the EGI listed here, but you would just take the potential gross income, take out the actual expenses, or excuse me, annual expenses, and then you'd arrive at your net income of $158,038, and then you take the net income, capitalize that. We're using the same capitalization rate for all of our income properties to arrive at a value of $1,751,802.
And then when you divide that by the number of units, you get the 39,814 number?
You should. If you take 1,751,802 divided by 44, you should arrive at that per unit value stated.
Okay. Do
May I comment?
Yes, John, you may.
So this 55% expense to income, our actual numbers are close to 80%. So this equalized 55% cuts our expenses by $70,000, which is reflected in net operating income and actual valuation by enormous amount, as well as the 10% that relates to the vacancies and concessions. Our actual number was 13.7, using actual numbers, not equalized averages.
It sounds like poor financial management to me.
Is this John, a 1 year financial numbers, or was this an average over a period of time?
Well, it depends because you guys change it every year. We just use a template from last year, which calculates 4-year average. So my numbers are 4-year average. I'm available to tell you the 1-year average too. But with unpredictability in your assessments, we can even budget for something like this. And comparables, when it comes to income approach, that is just unheard of. You run into the same problems as the sales and markets comparison when you calculate valuation of low-income tax credit properties, because they're so much different.
Well,
and I'm sorry.
No, here's what I was going to say. I think you've got an interesting argument. The problem here is I've also got a schedule we've got to maintain, and we've got to do right by both the Equalization Office and you. This could go on for a little while. What I want to find out is, do any of the members of the commission have a motion to make, or do you want to entertain a motion to table this until the 26th? Okay, well, what I'm going to do then is I'm going to close the floor to testimony, because I think we've got the gist of it. What I'm going to ask the commissioners now is, do you have any other questions, or do you have motions to make?
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we accept the assessor's recommendation for $1,751,802.
I'm going to second that, and I'm going to look and see what, that's the new number.
That is the new number.
Very good.
Yes, the new number.
Thank you.
Okay, so we've got a motion and second to accept the assessor's recommendation.
Give me those numbers again.
They are,
$1,751,802.
Okay, I got those.
you got the land and the structure breakdowns?
Yes, you have that.
Okay.
Yep. Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's?
No. Okay, motion passes. Thank you, sir. Next appeal, Wilson Trailer Company. I don't see anybody here in the office with us, and are they on the phone with us?
No.
Okay, go ahead, Carla.
Our next appeal is parcel number 250.15.00.C100. It's located at 415 East Oriole in Lenox, South Dakota. It's owned by Wilson Trailer Company. It is a manufacturing facility for trailers. Was built in 2007 was the original structure. There was a new addition put on in 2011. It has a total square footage of 160,269 square feet, 30 feet sidewalls. We have a current assessed value of $10,263,606. That's what the assessment went out at. They did not appear before the local board of equalization because they are out-of-state landowners. This is a direct-to-county appeal. We did supply some comparable of properties. The sales are old, but with commercial structures, we do have to reach back at least 5 years. We also provided an assessment equity. It was not in a sale. So with that being said, our subject property is being assessed at $63 per square foot. Our cost or assessed values on the sale and the assessment equity indicated a valuation between $77 and $102 a square foot. The sales are indicating a price per square foot between $85 and $96 a square foot. So a full interior inspection was performed in June of 21 during the reappraisal of the city of Lenox. Property is valued at normal condition, as are the comps in Lincoln County that have been used. So we did review the appellant sales comparables. The average year built on these were 1980, being considered older than the subject property and therefore having more depreciation factored into the selling price. These comparable sales also show a per square of the selling price divided by the square foot of the structures. To have a true price per square foot of the selling price, one would need to deduct the land value from the selling price, then divide that by the square footage. So the value of the land was added in. We show a map of the comparables, and to be honest, this is very unique. We had to reach out quite a ways throughout the county to find some comparisons. I do want to also make note on our recommendation. So some of the properties that the appellants were using were from other states, not even within the state of South Dakota. We just felt those were irrelevant to the Lincoln County assessments. So therefore, we're recommending to leave the assessment at $10,263,606.
Okay, thank you for the recommendation. Nobody's joined us over the phone, have they? Okay. Members of the commission have any questions or action?
Mr. Chairman, I would move that we stay with the recommended valuations presented by the Department of Equalization. And I want to note that I believe all of the comparable sales that were used in their evaluations were outside of the state, let alone outside of the county.
Okay, we got a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Got a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes. Okay. Next appeal is Sun Enterprises. It's the Hy-Vee on that 57th and Cliff. Okay. Is Mr. Gabe Noller on the line?
Yeah, this is him.
Okay, Mr. Noller, our assessor's office is going to make their presentation first, and then we'll allow you to reply. Go ahead, Carla.
Our next appeal is parcel number 280.19.00.001C. It's titled under the name of Sun Enterprises. It's located at 1231 East 57th Street in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It is a grocery store built in 2006. It's of normal grade and condition for the property. The total square footage is 44,956 square feet. We do have a current assessed value of $5,460,598. This is a direct to county appeal. It was not heard on the local level. So we did perform 3 approaches to value. The market approach on this specific property type was deemed unreliable with not having current sales. The income approach was also deemed unreliable as no income information was provided by the appellant. As long-term lease says do not fit into the current market rents. The cost approach value is the only sound value for this property. So therefore the assessors recommend no change to the value. We do show some comparables that are assessment equity, all of which are in Lincoln County. Our current assessment on the subject property is $78 per square foot. Using our assessment equity, we have a range between $70 and $91 per square foot on our grocery stores. Therefore, that is why we are recommending to leave the value at the 2022 value. There's some additional information. We do have a map that shows where the subject property is located in the northeast corner of the map. We did have to reach out a little ways in each of our other towns to find comparable properties for the assessment equity. We also provided some information that that was provided through the tax consultant that are appealing this particular property for the commission's review.
Is that everything, Carla?
I believe so, yes.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Noller, go ahead.
So just so I'm clear, for 2022, the county reassessed, and that's where the value came from, the $5,465,998. Is that correct?
That appears to be the case, sir.
Was it valued on the cost approach last year?
So as you can see from the first slide here, anytime the building gets over $5 million, it's appealed. It was appealed in 2019. So it was a county board value that rolled off. You're just back to our cost approach value again.
I see. Okay. So it was appealed and reduced in 2019. That value was carried forward until 2022, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Let's see. And for the grocery portion, you're saying that the value is $78 a square foot for just the grocery store?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, that's just for the building. That's the price per square foot just on the building.
Okay. All right. I think that's the only questions that I have. Well, other than the fact that, would we be able to just review, did you say you had some sales in the $70 to $90 range? Were they sales? Is that what it was?
Nope. So these are other assessments in the county that are properties like yours.
Oh, okay. That are assessed between 70 and 90.
Yep, $70 and $91 a square foot.
Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Those are the only questions I had.
Other than the questions that you had for staff, do you have any other presentation you'd like to make?
Well, you guys have access to the information that we provided when we filed the appeal, correct?
Probably in civic clerk.
What information are you referring to, sir?
Well, our the income analysis and the leases that, or the comps that we used to come up with our values. It was provided when we filed the appeal.
Is it in their civic clerk?
I'm assuming that you don't have it.
Well, you know, hold on a second, Mr. Noller. The
Sure.
assessor's office is looking through their files now. We're going to give them a minute to look for it.
Okay, sure.
So the comps you provided for the commission, I hope they were put in their packets, but you're referring to the comparables that you gave in Minnesota? Is that correct? Minnesota? A JCPenney's? Supermarket?
Well, I guess there's sales comps and lease comps. I'm not sure. I guess they do say Minnesota. Let me see something here. Yes, that's the information. Well, just for the record, can I tell you the value that we're requesting for the store portion is $3,641,440, and the C store we have it valued at $350 a square foot, or $814,000.
Is that what you're requesting? Is that what you're requesting, sir?
I'm sorry?
Are those the values you're requesting?
Yes. The overall value for this parcel would be $4,455,400.
Yeah, he values the land at 1.738, structure at 2.716.
his C-store structure is a lot higher than ours, and his grocery store value is much lower. I was just trying to figure out if that was still matching the PT-17.
Okay, sir, go ahead and continue with your presentation.
Well, that's real. I mean, I just wanted to read what we're requesting for the value, and that's based on the income.
Okay, anything else?
That's it at this time.
Okay, would the assessor's office like to reply?
It's based on income. That number is based on income that wasn't provided to us.
Are you talking about the actual income on the store?
Correct.
Okay.
Your
yeah,
lease.
that's correct.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman,
yes.
and I hate to table or postpone, but I would ask then that the staff have time to review that income approach. You haven't had time to
It was included in the slideshow where
Yeah, but have you-
for it, and he just refused to give it to us.
Oh,
I mean, I think there's been time.
Well,
I still will offer a motion, it doesn't have to have a second, that we table this, allowing the individual to present all of the information for the staff to look at it and evaluate it.
no, I agree. I mean, I'm supportive of these. I'm always supportive of these larger commercial endeavors having more time to make their presentation anyway, because it does involve a deep dive into the income approach. And I think generally speaking, the 10-minute model that we use here is not conducive to talking about income-based approach. That's why I voted no on the last apartment complex. However, the board has heard Commissioner Poppins's motion to table. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Got a
Are we
motion?
tabling till the 26th?
That would be part of my motion.
Okay. Is that part of your second, Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Okay, got a motion and a second to table till April 26th. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppin?
Yes?
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes. Okay, Mr. Knoller, the matter has been tabled till the 26th. If you have additional information you want to share with our equalization office, please do so. I would say that if you do want the benefit of being able to receive an assessed value based off an income approach, it behooves you to provide the income information to support that.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, thank you, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, it's 3:34. We've got Sunset Investors Dennis Jones at 3:40. Is this Mr. Jones in the audience? I'm gonna assume not. Okay. Is Mr. Jones appearing by phone?
Yes.
Is he on the line? Okay, Mr. Jones, can you hear me?
I am.
Okay, Carla, go ahead and make your pitch.
Our next appeal is parcel number 280.43.01.001B. It's owned by Sunset Investors LLC, located at 5124 Southwestern Avenue in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It is an office complex that was built in 2003. We have a total building area of 6,976 square feet. The lot size is 51,023 square feet. We have a total assessed value of $1,029,781. The request of the appellant is $916,400. We do show some comparable sales that have taken place in the last 3 years. Our assessment on the subject property is at $107 per square foot. The cost or the assessed values of the comparable properties are between $108 and $112 a square foot. The market is indicating a valuation between $100 and $149 a square foot. There was income information provided by the appellant, but we felt that those market rents were not conducive to what the market is today. You can see their income information provided to board. We supplied on that. You know, some of the rents are, you know, a co-owner to the building. That kind of threw out the income approach to valuation in our opinion. You can see where the subject property is located in the southeast corner of the map. The comparables are not that far away to the subject property. At this point, the assessor's office was recommending no change to the current assessed value of $1,029,781.
Anything else, Carla?
No.
Okay.
Other than there was a interior inspection done in 2018.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Jones, go ahead.
Yes. No, I appealed this thing because it is the first time that this building I've ever seen it valued at over $1 million. I've owned the thing for almost 20 years. The leases I have in place, even though one is a co-owner, he's still paying, to be honest with you, he's paying about the highest rate in the building. I've had these leases in place, some of them for the last 4 or 5 years, and the one for about 2 years. I've got both of these leases expiring January of 03 and July of 03. And I just didn't think that if I were to put this building on the market, and it's in fair shape, it's in good shape for a building that's almost 20 years old, I really didn't think that I could probably sell this building for hopefully between $950,000 and $965,000. I don't know what's going to happen in today's marketplace if one of these tenants should vacate. I could be looking at some vacant space, and then the property value is going to go down considerably. Right now, I'm 100% full, and as an owner, I'm retired now, but I've sold a lot of property in Sioux Falls, some office buildings in the past, and I'm not ever asked how many square feet. I'm asked, what's the income? What's the term of the leases? I've even been asked to renew leases before a contract has been signed. And then at the end, they ask, what the building condition is like, because they're the ones that might have to pick up that expense in the future. So that's really what brought me to even appeal this thing in the first place. I know that this thing hasn't changed in value for the last 4 or 5 years, but you know what? Neither has my income. That's really it. I've been watching this thing for the last hour. I kind of feel, I don't know. This is kind of a unique way to continue to do business, I guess, since I'm in Florida.
Well, I do have a question for the assessor's office. Is on this property, why wasn't the income approach, was the income approach used as the valuation method?
No, I don't. It doesn't appear that
you guys know.
It doesn't appear that the income approach was used on this property, no. Typically, in the past, we haven't gotten a lot of office income information enough to make a sound judgment on that. But there are some that, we do put on the income approach. And typically, we will go with the lower of the two. But, I think we kind of covered it on the last one a little bit. Or the previous apartment appeal, the low-income apartment appeal, we can make a decent judgment based on a group of financials just to see whether those itemized parts of the income approach are in line or if they're a little bit out of line, because the way that one person operates their business isn't typically a representation of how they're all operated, I guess, in an efficient way. So if you inefficiently run a business, it doesn't necessarily reflect the market potential for the
don't
next
tell me
person.
that though.
Or if you
One
don't,
person at a time, hold on.
if you don't rent out
Okay.
at market rent, if you have a contract rent that's below market rent, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's what your property is going to bring on the market.
So let's flip to the slide that talks with the 3 valuation methods here. Okay. Now, I'm reading that and I notice it's all highlighted in red. And maybe you're just confusing I think you're probably just confusing properties here. Did this guy supply income information or not?
Yes.
Okay. And he supplied it, and your office made a determination that you didn't like that dollar amount. You thought it's not conducive of current office sales, right? You felt that that 91 is anywhere from $10 to almost $20 less a square foot, right?
Right.
Okay. But you also typically do tend to use the lower of the valuation methods when they're provided. It's just in this instance you thought it was too low.
Yes, but we usually have more documentation from other office buildings to help us determine if that is an actual reliable approach to valuation, because assessments are based on what? Equalization. So as Ethan had stated, you know, we don't want to use, you know, one standard of income to represent what's being conducive in the market, because you can see it doesn't fall in line with the market. So as soon as we do this and use this type of assessment, then next year they see that, and they'll others will see that and then try to use the same form of approach to value.
Fully understood. Yeah. And I think that's what we're trying to suss out here, is what's going on with the below market rate income valuation approach. And I think that's where he's coming from. And he kind of alluded to the fact that he's got 3 tenants and one is an owner, and he hasn't really raised rents. And since he hasn't raised rents, it's very conducive for him to be able to use the income model approach and to be able to say, hey, I don't have a high income. Here's why you should use this one. It's best for me. Mm-hmm. And you all are saying, well, wait a minute there. You're not quite in the zone of where other similar properties are across Sioux Falls. I mean, if I kind of sum this thing up, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very well. Thank you.
Okay. Any members of the commission have questions, staff or the property owner?
Could I make one statement?
Go ahead, sir.
Oh, I just wanted, and it's not a big deal, guys. That this is, I'm not asking for a whole lot. In fact, I don't even see that I put a number down. I was thinking this property, if I were to sell it, was always going to be somewhere between $950,000 and $970,000. I never thought I could ever get $1 million for this property. But when they did use comparable number 3 at Crossing Place, I was the owner of that building. And when it went for $1,475,000, that wasn't just for that building. It was for 2 properties. There was another property included in on that sale that was worth about $300,000. It was property located at 5121 South Crossing Place, which was a fully developed parking lot. So I just didn't know if that comparable should have been used and if it was fair. That's really all I got to say.
Go ahead, Ethan.
We did adjust the purchase price for the
Okay.
2 properties.
Okay.
I've got it going on, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
I want to thank the gentleman for taking time to visit with us about his property. Unfortunately, I do not believe that we can utilize his income approach because he's a good landlord to his tenants, but unfortunately, I think that the market has changed dramatically in the last few years. And I would any real estate agent is going to caution you to say what your price is before you visit with them. Market has changed dramatically here very recently. With that, I'm going to move that we stay with the Department of Equalization's recommended numbers.
Got a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Got a motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, the clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppin?
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's?
No. Thank you. The motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Jones.
No problem. Thank you, guys.
We've got a few minutes, but the next one on the docket is Killarney Crossings LLC. Is there a representative here for them? Yes, sir. Do you want to start early? You're ready to go?
Sure, yeah.
Okay. Come on up to the podium.
I have some handouts, if that's all right.
Yeah, go ahead, and then while you're doing that, Carla and Ethan will start their presentation.
We have a property parcel number 280.55.02.003 owned
Thank
by
you.
Killarney Crossing, located at 4300 West 59th Street in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It is an apartment complex consisting of townhomes, 142 to be exact. We have a total square footage of 169,248. Each unit is approximately 1,192 in size. We have a total assessed value that went out on the assessment notice of $14,519,114. The assessors are recommending no change as it's assessed in comparison to like properties and lower than the current market sales. So we do have a good list of sales that are fairly recent sales of like properties. We show an income approach to valuation. Overall, we have an assessed value, and this is per unit, of $102,247 per unit. The cost or the assessed value is indicating between $102,571 and $116,228 per unit. The market is indicating a valuation between $116,860 and $182,482 per unit. The income approach is showing $99,314 to $104,660 per unit. Assessments are equal. We're under market value. Therefore, the assessors are making a recommendation to keep the assessment at $14,519,114. Local board, it did get heard at local board, and the local board made no change.
Thank you, Carla.
Yes.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, sir, and could you state your name for the record, too?
Yes, my name is Todd Ernst, and I guess I'd just like to talk generally about housing in Sioux Falls for a couple minutes, if I may. We are truly in unprecedented times in Sioux Falls for housing, okay? Both single-family owned housing and multi-family owned housing is really seeing pricing levels that we've just never seen before. For multifamily, in particular, the subject property, these are cap rates that are established by some recent sales in the last couple of years that we've never even seen anything close to this before. We're talking some cap rates established that are sub 5 caps, okay? So, in my time in Sioux Falls and people that have been here a lot longer than I have, we've just never even seen anything close to this. So let's just recognize that, what we have here is going on as a bubble. And we had a similar bubble back in 2008 with housing, and it's going on across the country. But this time, Sioux Falls is seeing the same effect that's gone on in other places. Okay, so let's just kind of recognize that. I guess I think we can all feel it, and I'm truly worried about affordable housing. Okay, we're trying to get as many housing units built in the city as possible. Many multifamily housing. I think the best way to combat some of the rent challenges we've got is just to add more supply to the market so that there's downward pressure on those rents for residents. And I truly want, as an apartment owner, investor, that we want residents to be able to afford those rents in apartments, okay? And we went through a reassessment a couple years ago by the county, and they did this, and they're sort of doing it again with all the new comps that have been established here in the last few years with sales, with what's going on in this housing bubble, okay? And I think it's extremely naive to believe that these tax increases, which is the biggest expense line item on a property's P&L sheet, doesn't eventually just get passed into the rents. It does. And it's not about a greedy landlord. It's about what normal market forces happen. Any business will try to take expense increases and will try to figure out how to move them onto the revenue side. It's not just singles doing it. This is a normal market thing that will happen. So this is upward pressure on rents at a time when we just don't need it. Okay. So the assessor's office is going to be presenting a few high comps. They assess these properties. They know which ones are high, and they're assessing these. They also know which property owners are not likely to appeal their taxes. Okay, so I'm going to present you with a couple of what I think are very, very good lower comps. And all I'm asking for this commission is that we not continue this upward pressure on property taxes and rents and everything that goes into making housing less affordable in our community, okay? So we'll try to keep, that's all I'm asking, is that we really try to keep those taxes in check. So Killarney Crossing, the assessed value per unit I've got, I think on the sheet I passed out to you, is $102,000 a unit. The property that's immediately adjacent to that property is Donegal Point, and that's why I felt this is a good comp. The assessed value of that is $80,000 a unit, okay? There's another townhome property that's 2 miles away that was assessed at just over $83,000 a unit, which is Platinum Point, okay? Donegal has very similar amenities to the subject property. It's a different style, but it's again, in competition. It's got the same amenities and so forth. Platinum is a couple miles away, and it has minimal amenities, I'll admit, but this is probably one of the nearest townhome properties there. Platinum Valley is I think only a couple miles away too. That's sort of another example of a property right there. So we know the rents on Killarney on average, because we've got the rent roll and you can compute it, it's at $1 per square foot. Donegal Point actually receives higher rents, and we were able to receive that rent roll, and we know that property's average rents per square foot are $1.14 per square foot. Platinums are a little bit lower at 93 cents per, probably because of the lower amenities, but even the property that's older, 2000 right there, the Platinum Valley that's just a couple miles away as well too, looking at what their rents are, I don't have their rent roll, but just taking a sample of their advertised rents, what they've got, I've come up with what their rents are per square foot. So these are higher rents that these properties are getting. And all I'm asking is that we assess that somewhere close to the average of these three properties. I submitted, I think, the original request at the 82,939 per unit figure. I'd be very happy with somewhere close to that, kind of recognizing, some of the information that the assessor's office gets, but I just can't, I frankly can't believe the numbers of the assessor's office, especially with the income approach. And I think we've relayed a lot of these concerns with the way they're doing it, that they're not getting apples to apples comparisons, when I can go find that other properties have these assessed values so much lower than mine, okay, and their rents are higher. I don't get it. okay? And if they have similar amenities, they're gonna have similar expenses. I just simply don't get it. And all I'm asking again is that we reassess or lower the assessment value on the lower end somewhere in the mix of these comparable properties that I found.
Thank you, Todd. Assessor's office, would you like to respond?
I mean, one quick point on this, you're setting the market on these apartment sales. You've sold a few of these apartments yourself, and really all we're doing is relaying that information back to you. Continually, we've been low. You can see what the sale prices are on these properties and where they've been assessed or where they're currently assessed at. We are giving them the benefit by still continuing to do the income approach to value on these, and we're still low time after time. And these properties are supposed to be assessed at the same level of assessment as all the single-family homes and every other type of property that are in the county here, and so that's all we're trying to attempt to do here.
Go ahead.
And some of these comparables, Donegal Point is not a similar style building to the comparable, and the other two are a little bit older than the subject property as well. And we're using your income information to come up with the
Sure.
values.
And like I said, I kind of don't believe that you're getting great numbers with the income approach, and we've talked about that over the years. Now, I'm not going to deny at all that there's been property sales that have occurred in the last couple of years that have been off the charts, numbers that we've never seen before. Now, but I'll tell you how this works for apartments is it is extremely difficult to cash flow and make numbers work on new apartments right now, okay? The money is there on the sale. So it's irresponsible if you're seeing these high market prices, frankly, to not exit a property and take some of these sales. So it's not intentional, but it's market forces that are out of our control with these players coming in and establishing some of these frankly, what I believe are bubble level comps. And it is, we are shooting ourselves in the foot, frankly, if we're going and saying, okay, that's what the new property values are all worth, okay? Because we truly have a bubble, and I think other places around the country that see this bubble effect in bigger communities, East Coast, West Coast, they do stabilize their property values, okay, and they realize that there's a lot of swings, and then don't just go try to find the high water mark and reassess everything at that point. So that's all I'm asking. Let's put downward pressure on our property taxes, especially in multifamily.
Thank you, Mr. Ernst. Go ahead, Ethan.
Yeah, I mean, we're not assessing a bubble. You set the market at this, so it's hard for me to believe from you that you think this is a bubble. And even if you do really believe that, we'll address that next year if sales start to come down.
Well, what will happen, Ethan, is, okay, there's comps, but what will happen is if prices really get reset, you won't just see transactions at a lower amount. There just simply won't be transactions for a while. It'll just sort of go away for a while. And that's what happens, is that the bubble and the numbers that you see when, if they're up here right now, you'll just see a much, much slower market for transactions. You won't see all of a sudden just reset, oh, well, we better go do it again. But you probably will see it eventually in about 5 years, and you'll realize, oh, yeah, this is the problem. But what we've done is we've made it really, really difficult for that 5-year period of time instead of just trying to level things out.
Carla.
If I may address the appellant and the board.
Yeah, of course.
We had a reappraisal of our apartment and commercial properties in 2018. We applied it for our 2019 assessment year. The same argument took place. You said we were going to, overinflate these values, and it was going to make it hard for people to, the buy and sale, and, the taxes are the biggest expense. And
so do you think that it's not difficult right now for residents to afford the rents? I think
it's difficult for everybody, including ourselves, when we're faced with putting full market values and, using the 3 approaches to value. We're the same argument is being said about the bubble and everything in our residential properties and our agricultural properties.
And you haven't seen a change in your value in years, and you've increased your rents already, correct?
Well, this is a huge increase in our
But you're not paying taxes on this, and you've already increased your rents, right?
Well, along with rent increases, okay, there's also all the,
You said this was your biggest line item.
multiple expense lines that are increasing, okay? You know, you know, we know what's going on with inflation. And you're seeing, you know, labor increases, you're seeing all the different services increase. This is increased, so all we're doing is just, we're just propping this thing up, okay? And I'll tell you, when we did the countywide reassessment a couple of years ago, I did have concerns, Carl, and we met and we talked about all this, and we met with several of the owners, that what was gonna happen is that we were just gonna put pressure, added pressure on residential rents, and we absolutely do have pressure, more pressure now than ever before on residential rents, and then we're simply just making it even more difficult to build more multifamily, which is badly needed in Sioux Falls right now. So that's all I'm saying.
Has
Okay.
there ever been a market?
Okay, hold on. Excellent public policy discussion, absolutely, and a good discussion with regard to your appeal. We could probably be here all day. In fact, we probably need, as a part of local government, we need more of this, actually. We need a much larger discussion on the issue. However, our task today, of course, is to decide your appeal. And so, do any members of the board have questions for staff or Mr. Ernst? Okay, hearing none, I'll close the floor to testimony then, and I'll ask if the members of the board have any motions they'd like to make.
I'll get up. I'll take it.
I guess I was gonna go ahead and say, I think the squeeze is on everything and everybody, and we all have more expenses than what we should right now. This is the world we're living in, and an inflationary rate. I do look at your assessment history. There was 3 years there was no change. At the same time, I do know that rents are going up. I guess I would go ahead and accept the assessor's recommendation for the land of $1,218,149 to structure at $13,330,965 for a total of $14,519,114.
I'm going to second that, and I do have a comment if I could.
We've got a motion and second. Is there any discussion? Go ahead.
Comment. I've been in the multifamily industry before. Not sure if I'll ever get back into it again. But the thing that I find interesting is we continuously talk about affordable housing. And the biggest thing that is an extra burden to multifamily properties, which has taken I think a larger percentage of the workforce that we need to fill job vacancies, is burdened by not receiving a discount on property taxes because it isn't owner occupied. We've talked to Ethan about where things are I believe not fair. These are where people live too, and that cost is directed back to them. So they may not own that building, but they're paying the burden of that extra tax. And that's just my commentary for today.
I appreciate that. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else, any member of the board want to make a comment? I've got a lot of comments, but I'll save them for another forum. No further discussion? Clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppin?
Yes.
Commissioner Ernst?
No. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We have Gabriel Ehlers on the phone from Wells Fargo Bank. Mr. Ehlers, are you on the phone?
Yes, I am.
Okay, thank you, sir. My name is Joel
Yeah.
Ahrens. I'm on the county commission here. Now is the time and place for your appeal for Wells Fargo
Okay.
Bank. Our
Okay.
assessor's office will present first, then you'll reply to them, okay?
Sounds great.
Okay, go ahead, Carla.
Our next appeal is parcel number 280.57.01.001. It's located at 3610 Avera Drive in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. It's a Wells Fargo bank. Its current use is a bank built in 2006. It has approximately 5,040 square feet. We have a current assessed value of $1,837,385. The property appellant is requesting a valuation of $1,772,000. The assessor's office's recommendation is no change to the current assessment based on assessment equity. We do show 3 banks built in approximately the same year, same size as the appellant. We are currently assessing the subject property at $178 per square foot. Our assessment equity comparables show a range between $179 and $211 per square foot. You can see for where the subject property is located on the western edge of Louise Avenue. Comparable 3 is relatively close to the subject property. Comparables 1 and 2 are quite a ways out, but again, we're using them as an assessment equity properties within Lincoln County. Again, based on the information that we have on the bank, the Wells Fargo Bank, and the other banks that we have in Lincoln County, the assessors are making a recommendation of no change for the 2022 assessment year.
Thank you, Carla.
Yes.
Excuse me. Thank you, Carla. Mr. Ehlers, go ahead.
Yeah, so the first thing I'd like to do is just make sure we are talking about the same size of building. I believe the assessor said they had 5,040 square feet of building area. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, and so when unless I'm missing something, when I divide 1.837 million by 5,040, I'm getting $365 a square foot.
You're using the total value divided by the building footprint, correct? Our per square foot value is taking the building value divided by the building square footage.
Okay, so you're saying your improvements per square. Okay, I understand. Okay, that clears that up. Yeah, so we included a cost approach in our packet that we sent over. Let's see, as you can tell, we're pretty close in value. We're not too far off at 1.772 million, or a value of $352 a square foot for the entire property. Let's see. That would be $165 per square foot of improvements. Let's see. I would be interested in seeing this workup done. If the assessor has something like, if they can talk to any sort of valuation technique that's not reliant on the assessed values of other properties, perhaps an income analysis or a cost approach. I would just say that, if you have 3 banks in your jurisdiction, and I'm saying ours is overassessed, it doesn't prove anything to say the other ones are assessed the same as far as what the property is actually worth.
Go ahead, Ethan. You want to address that?
So you're representing Wells Fargo in this appeal, correct?
Yes.
And if you feel like this particular bank is not assessed in accordance with market wrong, this is the exact same footprint as our comparable number 1, which is also a Wells Fargo. also in Sioux Falls, not too far away. Is there any reason why you guys hadn't appealed that?
I'll let the comment stand on its own. I want Mr. Ehlers to continue to make his presentation. I mean, if Mr. Ehlers feels that he wasn't provided some information or needs more
Time.
more time essentially, or needs more data provided to him, there may be consideration provided to him by this board. Is that what you're asking for, Mr. Ehlers?
Yes, and in general, I do maybe 20 appeals a year in South Dakota, and
Okay.
we greatly appreciate the time that.
Okay.
With that, Mr. Chairman, I'd offer a motion to table this to, forgive me the date again, 26th. So that appellant has some time to review and adequately make his argument. Thank you.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppin,
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes. Okay, we're going to be in recess until, how much time you need?
4 minutes.
We'll be in recess till 4:20. Thank you. Next appeal on the docket is Meadows at Greystone LLC. There's actually two of those on our docket, but it's a number of different parcels. And it looks like the, first of all, I'll just ask the appellant, is it okay if we address all of these parcels globally?
That was my intent, is
Okay.
that it's all one property.
Okay, and is that okay with you, Carla? Or
There are a couple parcels that don't have structures on them. They're just a piece of property. They're just a piece of ground.
Okay.
Just a sliver of a retention area or
Okay.
buffer strip.
And we don't
per
care
se.
how you allocate it among the parcels, frankly, as long as the total adds up.
He's not appealing that portion of those assessments.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
You're concurring that you're not appealing those parts of those assessments.
I can't remember how we did. I think we talked to your office about, and I think you guys said only submit the largest couple properties with,
Well, let's do this then.
okay.
Since, let's just do each parcel, segment it out the way we have it on the docket right now, okay? And if we slide into it for one reason or another, fine. But let's handle the first parcels first, the ones that end in 02 and 03.
Our first appeal is parcel number 281.59.23.002. It's located at 5201 South Greystone Avenue in Sioux Falls. It's under the ownership name of Meadows at Greystone. It is an 8-plex unit. Average unit size is approximately 1,069 square feet. We have, it was built in 2017, so it's fairly new construction. We have a total assessed value of $739,939, which equivalates to approximately $92,231 per unit. We are recommending no change. Values are lower than the current sales per unit. And we are looking at some additional software usage to help us value multifamily properties in the upcoming year. That's just a side note. You have seen these sales. We have a few sales that have occurred in the last few years that helped us determine how our assessments are falling in line with the market approach to value, as well as the income and the cost approaches. So all three approaches to value have been utilized on this appeal. Our assessment on a subject property, again, is being assessed at $92,231 per unit. The cost is indicating a range between $156,690 and $165,973. So that shows a really good uniformity within our assessment equity. The market is indicating an price per unit of $116,860 and $182,482 per unit. The income is indicating a range between $99,314 and $110,480. We show some median prices of multi-parcel sales in our next comparison slide. It shows on the map where the subject property is located in conjunction with the comparable properties. They are all within Lincoln County. Again, the assessors are recommending no assessment change to the 22 assessment year, leaving it at $737,939 for the 8-unit structure.
Okay, thank you, Carla. Anything else?
No.
Okay, Mr. Ernst.
Okay, Todd Ernst here again, and I guess no need to kind of go through all the policy discussion we had earlier. Now, okay, when I add up all the different parcels for the assessment, Carla, we came up with the total assessment of the $16,675,366, right? Over 20 units. We see that assessed value at $83,377 per unit. And I think that's the trick here. Is that there's probably some parcels in there with no units on it and so forth. But when we take everything up, that you're required to have all this property, this land for the property, That's what the total assessment is, and that's what we've done for these other properties. Now, Meadows on Greystone, okay? This is really kind of tucked in. It's right next to Horizon Elementary School. This was built by Lloyd Companies in 2016, and this was truly, one of their first attempts to create a market rate, workforce, targeted, affordable housing product. Okay, there's no amenities. The goal of this property was really to try to build to that, that rent level. Okay, figuring that there's a school right across the street, children want to play. There's all the benefits of the land and the playground at the school. The only thing that's there's a dog run on this property, okay? But there's no clubhouse, none of the other amenities. Now, this property, this townhome style, multi-level style unit was also built in 2 other places in Lincoln County. The exact same units were built just a couple miles away, which is Edgewater Villas. That's the exact same units. We're talking the only, same unit sizes, same layout, same everything. They put it maybe a little different on the property. The main difference with Edgewater Villas is that does have an outdoor pool. It's also in a much better location. Okay, that when we look at what their rents are compared to our rents, we see that with the added location there, the newer property, a couple years newer, and the pool, they're getting about 18% higher rents than Meadows on Greystone. Now, again, the second comp I've got there is Edgewater Apartments, which is the exact same property built in T. And the reason why I'm going to cite that is because when I look at the rent roll on both of those properties, they're virtually identical. So granted, we're talking Sioux Falls and T, but we're within the Lincoln County. We're still within the same taxing area, okay? Edgewood Apartments built in 2017. It's less units built in the center T, and those rents per square foot are the exact same $1 per square foot. Okay, that's there. So between these 2 properties, I don't know how you get a better comp than those 2 properties. And the third comp I've got there is Village at 3 Fountains, which is within 5 miles there. Okay. And that's a larger complex, but similar unit size, 182 versus the 200. But this property does have lots of amenities. Okay, they've got a pool, a clubhouse, a community room, a theater room, a gym, outdoor grills, fire pit. They have a guest suite, and they're getting. When I look at what their rents that are out there, what they're advertising those rents at, and that's what's listed at the bottom. Okay. Is those, that's roughly about 28% higher rent. So all those amenities are playing out. All I'm asking for here is that we be the average of those 3 properties, okay? So in Carla, I think this comes up with the land, and somehow we have to take that into account, but I'm asking for a fairly small reduction here, just the average of those 3 properties at 80,505 a unit. So I don't know how we get to that, but I'm just asking to be comped against those 3 properties, which I think I just don't know how you get better comps than that, being the exact same properties. So
Carla, would your office like to reply?
I'm still doing my research. We didn't get
Sure,
any of this information until right at this
Sure,
moment.
take
so-
a few minutes.
we presented this at local board, though,
At local
also,
board?
and we sent it to you.
She's thinking I have a question for Todd.
Go ahead.
Hey, Todd.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at some of the landmass on your property that we're first talking about. There's, let me go back a second. Is any of that excess, and I'm going to call it excess because we have variations on several of these of per unit of 7,300 square feet to this property has almost 20,000 square feet per unit.
So there's a bunch of.
Is any of the rest of that property buildable, or is it unusable for building?
There's a drainage area there, and we were required by the city
Yep.
when we built it.
Nothing else can be built on it?
to take the yeah, you can't build on it.
There's
you know.
no other area on
No.
that can be built.
Believe me, we built on every square footage piece of this land that we could, that the city would allow.
Sure, that's why that was my question, because there's such a discrepancy.
Yep. It's around sort of a drainage area that
exactly.
fills, and, you know, so
It's beneficial for kids to play.
for
when it's
kids to
not
play,
flooding.
you could put a dog park there. You can't put any,
Yeah.
you know, anything else.
Has
really.
some use, but not buildable use.
Yeah.
Okay, very good, thank you.
I mean, Ethan's gonna look up one other one, but we did notice like the Edgewood Apartments in T, there is a location factor. So, I mean, we do take consideration for
yeah.
location. The Village at Three Fountains is a 3-story apartment building. It's not set up as a multi-duplex type apartment, so it is valued a little bit differently. Townhome versus straight up apartment. We are still looking at Edgewater from at first glance. They look exactly the same, and I'm just trying to figure out why the difference in the price per unit. Did you find anything, Ethan?
So on the Edgewood Villas apartment complex, we are using the cost approach to value on that property. And like I said earlier, we give the benefit of the doubt to the appellants or the property owners when we're able to do the income approach. We'll take the lower of the 3 approaches or 2 approaches, the income and the cost approach. And we did that for both of these properties. We gave the cost approach to Seventh Wave Investments or Edgewater Villas because that was the lower of the 2 approaches. And we did the same thing on the appellant's property here as well. On this one, it's assessed on the income approach because that was the lower approach of the 2.
Okay. Ethan, you said hang on, I gotta get my numbers so when I'm looking at it. The 737, 937 is based on the income approach?
Correct.
And that was, Todd, that was presented?
I guess I'm not sure what goes into her income approach. What I'm presenting here is just to be equalized with what I think are great comps in the same taxing district.
Ethan, can you look in the property on 615 Fitzgerald Court in T? Was that one done on an income approach or was that done on a either cost or market?
Cost approach.
That one's done on cost approach.
So both of these 2 are done on the cost approach, the first 2 comparables. The third one is, I'm not sure, but not very comparable in style.
Okay.
First of all, do you need additional time?
No.
Do you have any further reply?
No, thank you.
Okay. Members of the board, members of the board, do you have any further questions for Mr. Ernst or for the department? Okay, hearing none, I'll close the floor to testimony at this time. Do the members have any motions to make?
Carla, Ethan, I'm not ecstatic about the comps we used.
For this particular property? Yeah, I think you're probably right. If you look at this slide here, you can pick out a 4-plex if you want, and you can see the breakdown on the sales there. And you can see what they are per unit on a 4-plex there.
On a sale. Yeah.
On a sale, yep. I could get you the assessed value on that if you'd like.
Todd, I don't know if this is gonna appease you, but I know it's gonna upset my staff, so maybe that'll make you happy. I'm gonna move that we adjust the average valuation of the units. Give me a second. To 85,000, leaving the land and making all of the adjustment on the structure. Sorry, I did not do the math. Someone's gonna have to do the math.
You want to lower the NADC2?
So I need to take it, the 85 times the 4. So 340,000, no, I'm on, there's 8, sorry, times 2. It'd be 680,000.
On, we're talking about the 002?
That's higher.
Is it?
We're talking about parcels 002. It ends with 002.
Okay.
So currently we have the structures at 580,398 at the 85 per unit. If my math is correct, at 8 units is $680. And then we'd have to add in the land value. That is actually a higher assessment.
No, that, I was leaving the land in that total.
Oh, okay.
So I take the 157, 541 out of that, so 522, 559.
You may have already made up your mind on this, but and I apologize, I didn't make this sheet, and obviously I didn't review it long enough. But the assessed value is there for all of those properties, and the top ones are all in Sioux Falls there, so you can see the assessment per unit there, along with the sale price and where those values fall in line with the sales.
I'm afraid my decisions is made, and it's mostly by fact when we presented our arguments of comparable 1, 2, and 3. I just didn't like them.
Okay, Commissioner, would you just restate your motion there?
So we're going to place the land or the building structure at 522, 459, and leaving the land at 157, 541.
522, 459?
Correct. And land, it remains the same at 157, 541.
So
Is there-
680.
Is there a second to that effect?
680,000 total?
677,
What?
isn't it?
Yes,
No.
yes.
No? Yes? No?
Hold
If I
on a
take
second.
522,
677.
459 plus 157, 541.
677.
Not,
Unless I have the wrong numbers. I have an AV lot of 157, 541.
That's the same numbers I came up with.
It is.
There's only one 8-plex sale on there though, and it was $900,000 in 2019.
Yeah, sales are. We don't have any of our properties at market. Assess equalized.
So 522, 459 plus 157, 541.
Yep.
680,000.
680,000, yeah.
That's
would.
what I have.
6.
Okay, so that's the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes. Okay, now we need to clean this up a little bit, though. There was parcel 003 included in the last docket. That's the dog park. My understanding is department's recommendation is to value that at $1,000, and
You're appealing that?
you
Well-
have $1,000 on there, but
I
it says you
think-
don't agree with it.
We just submitted all the parcels
Okay.
for this
Well, you
entire
can-
property, and in the past, what we've done is we've just looked at it as a whole property,
Okay.
so,
Do you have any comment on it?
no.
I
I
will-
mean, it is dog park.
You made a
Okay.
motion?
I'm going to move that we stick with the equalizations off valuation of $1,000.
Okay. Is there a second to that effect?
I'll second it.
There's a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes. Okay, that takes care of parcels 02 and 03. Now we need to discuss parcels 04 and 00. Go ahead,
If
Carl.
we use the same math, and I'm not trying to overcomplicate it, at 85,000 per unit, total valuation, is that what you want to do? I mean, equalize it.
Comparables are a little more comparable on
Let's,
this one.
let's take a look at the
There may be.
comparable.
Let's go through the full
Okay.
presentation. We're talking about the parcel that ends with 004 now, because
Okay.
the parcel ending in 000 is a
Yep,
bare
located
piece
at-
of land. Yeah. Go ahead, Carla.
You bet. Located at 5401 South Greystone Avenue. Meadows at Greystone is the ownership name. It consists of 192 units built in 2016. We have a total assessed value of $16,675,366, which equates to $86,851 per unit. We do have some sales that we felt were very comparable to the subject property to help determine our market approaches to value. After all of the analysis done, we were valuing the subject property at $86,851 per unit. Our cost approach indicated a valuation range between $102,570 and $116,228. The subject is not under the cost approach to value. It is the income approach to value. Is that how I'm reading that? Yes. Okay, so the market is indicating a range between $116,860 and $182,482 per unit. The income approach is showing a valuation between $110,480 per unit to $125,863. You can see our analysis. We broke it down in many different ways between the unit size and the assessed value and the data sale and the price median assessment level and the price per unit. We broke it down every way we could to help you understand and help identify that how our assessments are in reflect to the market valuation. Time and time again, we're under market value.
Not every time. It's the market is just crazy.
Assessment equity.
Oh, I know. I've seen it time
You
and
can
time
see
again.
where subject property is located on the map in the southeast corner of the map. Comp 3 on our comparable search is literally right to the north of them. Comps 1 and 2 are a little bit further away, but all located in Lincoln County. Assessors are making a recommendation to leave the value at $16,675,366. I will note it went in front of the local board of equalization, and the local board made no change.
I think I made the case before. This is really all one property. I'm sorry. I guess I'm just confused why we have to talk about it this way, but I'll do my best. It's the same property. All I'm asking to do is be equalized with the other comparable properties there. I don't really understand these numbers. All I do is just frankly take all the different assessed parcels, and that's where I come up with the number of $16,675,000. Divide that over the number of units, and I come up with the assessed value at the $83,000 per unit. And I do the exact same thing for those other comparable properties. So again, all I'm asking for is to be equalized with those same properties that are exact, same units as the. So we're not talking about a different property now. It's part of the same property. And there's no difference as far as, units built over here or you built any different than over here. They're the same thing. So I guess I'd ask that the consideration be taken as a whole somehow, that whatever the board is going to decide here, the commission is going to decide, that it add up to what would be an equalized assessment against the comps.
Are there any additional questions for staff or Mr. Ernst from the board? All right, I'll close testimony. Is there any discussion or action?
To simplify it, using my same logic of 85,000, gives us a total valuation of $16,320,000. I would leave the land again the same, of $338,246. Leaving us $14,981,754 for the structure.
Is that your motion?
That is my motion.
Is there a
14,981,754.
Yes.
Are we actually reducing the overall assessed value? That's just what I ask, with all that.
Say
I guess I'm just asking, does the total actually reduce the overall assessed value? Is that the intention?
yes, it
Okay.
does.
You just reduced your assessed
I-
value.
Okay.
Yep.
About 350,000.
Repeat that number again, please.
So the structure's 14,981,754, and the land at 1,338,246.
So you get a total of 16,320,000.
60,320,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppin?
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay.
You've got one more.
We've got your your
Dog
bear-
park
Got
again.
Yeah, we got your bare land parcel. Well, actually, it looks like a drainage pond.
We have a $900 assessed value on it.
We can drop that one.
Yeah.
We're going to take action, deny it. It simplifies it. Otherwise, you have to put in a, Carla, if you don't want to go through it, I would offer a motion to accept your assessed value for that parcel.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppin?
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes. Thank you, Mr.
you.
Ernst.
Thank you.
Okay, next up on the docket is CJB Townhomes LLC. And the first one we're going to discuss is parcels 401, 402, 403, 404. Ma'am, would you step up to the podium, please, and then please state your name so
Okay.
we know who we're talking to.
Do I have to talk in this?
Yes,
Okay.
you do.
right.
Unfortunately, because we have people watching.
We have people watching, we're making a recording, in case anything gets appealed, all of that.
Okay. My name is Joelle Benson.
Okay, Ms. Benson.
Okay.
These folks from the department are going to present first, and
Okay.
then you'll get your chance.
All
and then
right.
We'll go back and forth. Go ahead, Carla.
Our next set of appeals are parcel number 270.70.00.401, located at 321 Honeysuckle Drive in Harrisburg, South Dakota. They are townhomes that were built in 2006, approximately 1,394 square feet in the units. Lot size is approximately 2,193 square feet. They do have attached garages of 633 square feet. We are looking at these on an individual basis as they are individually parceled out. We have some sales. Comparable properties. I apologize, I don't have that page on. Do you have
I'm
that?
looking for it in my file here as I.
These may be properties that are, I'm sorry, I just don't have that slide on here.
We have the map of the comps.
Yeah, but we don't have the
But we
comp.
don't have the side-by-sides.
Our current assessed value on the subject property is $97 per square foot. The comps are located on, can I just take a timeout for a moment?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yes. No, we can't.
We don't have it loaded on this computer, so if you don't mind, I'll just bring it up to the podium on here.
You can, or is he able to access it back there and then
Directly put it on.
put it on the
Can we
screen?
get into the S drive on this?
You can do that, or you can plug in your laptop and it'll split up there.
Thank you.
That would
Were the appellants provided these comp in,
We did send them
okay,
the information. We would have emailed them,
okay,
and then also sent a letter to the address provided on the PT-17 form.
okay. It would have included these though.
I would have to check that.
We need to check that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do we want to ask them? Had to be a difficult one at the end of the day.
Well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, otherwise it's gonna be easy. Quick.
This is the only page we're missing, I believe.
Technical difficulties.
Lost.
Did you all receive, Miss Benson, did you all receive that slide or not?
No.
That slide you did not
This is the
receive?
slide we received.
Yeah, I doubt it if it wasn't.
It wasn't on there?
This is the slide we just got is, 1, 2, 3, same building, so we're comparing it just really well. 3 comps and the same here.
Okay,
That's all I got.
so here's what we're probably gonna do then, is, you do one of two things. We can go through with the whole hearing here today, and that's fine, but you won't have the benefit of knowing what the government's evidence is that it wants to use in its case, which we have decided previously is not how we want to do these hearings. We want you to know what the comps are that they're using ahead of time so you can come in prepared to this hearing. You could either move forward knowing that, or you can table this hearing and you can come back on April 26th.
And I'll apologize for that inconvenience.
Well, you know,
No, you know
everybody's
what?
doing their
I-
level
I have
best.
one question, and I'm gonna propose a motion. We'll see if it's a second.
Yeah.
Carla, can you tell me what the appellant is asking more or less than their 2020 assessment?
More.
Mr. Chairman, as I feel it is our burden to prove, I will award the request because we failed to provide the information in a timely manner. And I would do that on this parcel as well as all of their parcels for this year.
Okay, so
That's my motion.
I'm sensing some quizzical look there from Ms. Benson, and so what he has proposed is basically to award you what you're asking for. Do you understand that?
I understand that. Okay, that's good.
Now,
And I'm not liking doing it, but I also, I'm not liking that we didn't get you the information.
Okay.
So do we have to run through all these parcel by parcel?
well, that's up to the commission here, but we have a motion on the floor right now. And I have a question for the commission. Do we have a second?
I'll second it for discussion. Let's say that, okay?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Go ahead with discussion.
What are the amounts?
That's, I think we should run through each of them. We can just go through it and say the parcel
Well, let's-
number and
yeah.
then what we're gonna put the land and the building at, and then move on each of them so that way it's in the record.
Yep, so.
Because I've got the dollar amounts here that they've
So
requested.
they're requesting,
I can make it really easy for you, Mike.
please do it.
It's on the slides, yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know.
Here,
It's on which?
it's on my piece of paper.
Oh,
So
perfect.
then this is what they're requesting, land building. So you just go through and read all those, and I'm just gonna assume that everything, not that very last one, but,
Yep, those, okay.
yep.
So their request, parcel number 27070004001, land at $6,579, building of $104,500, total of $111,079.
Okay.
So Mike's making the motion.
That is the
Second.
motion. Is that okay with your second?
I'm just checking here. I would. Yes.
Okay, we got a motion and a second on parcel 401. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes. Okay, parcel 402.
And Carla, unless you want to go through it, this is going to be the same motion on all of them. Unless,
Okay. No, no.
unless, do any of these files show up on any of these parcels? The comps?
We missed one page. They got the
For
comparable.
all of these parcels? Yeah, I'm afraid I'm going to have to do this. My motion is to award the request with a land value of $6,507, building structure of $104,500. Am I looking at the right one? Yep, second one? For a total of $111,007.
Got a motion, is there a second?
I'll second it.
We got a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes. Parcel 403.
Again, land of $6,507, structure $104,500, total of $111,007.
Got a second, is there a motion?
I'll second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none, clerk will call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon,
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins.
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's.
Yes. Parcel 404.
Land, 6,546, building structure, 104,500, total of 111,046.
And I understand that's your motion. I just want to correct myself. That's parcel 403.
Nope, it's 404. We did 403.
Didn't we do first three already?
That's,
Oh,
that's,
what am I looking at then?
you're looking at parcel 403.
Oh, I did?
You want me to read them off?
So parcel 403 requested value is land, 6546, structure 104,500 for a total of 111,007.
That was 403. 404 is 6546.
404 is 6562, 104,500, total value 111,062. Is there a misprint on there?
Oh, what am I looking at?
I thought he just these two the same.
Yeah, it's wrong on here.
You read the same
It's
one.
wrong on mine?
It's wrong on yours.
The requested values. We're talking about requested
We will have
value.
to get this
Where's
correct.
the PT-17s? I give them all to you guys.
It's right here then.
Yeah, I've got the PT-17s.
I'm going to
here in
defer
front of me.
to our chairman to read them off, please.
Okay. We're going to expedite this, and I'll read these off, and we'll read off all the parcels. So parcel 403, requested value of the land is 6546. The structure is 104,500 for a total value of $111,007. On parcel 404, the requested land value is $6,562. The structural value of $104,500. Total value $111,062. Parcel 405 is $6,552 with a structural value of $104,500. Total value $111,052. Parcel ending in number 406 has a land value of $6,603, structural value $104,500, total value of $111,103. Parcel ending in 407 has a land value of $6,575, structural value of $104,500, total value $111,075. Parcel ending in number 408, land value $6,549, structural value $104,500, total value $111,049. Parcel ending in number 409, land value at $6,555, structural value of $104,500, total value $111,055. Commissioner, is that your motion?
That is my motion.
I have a motion on parcels 401 through 409 as stated. Is there a second to the motion as stated?
I will second it.
Got a motion and second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, clerk, call the roll.
Commissioner Gibbon?
Yes.
Commissioner Poppins?
Yes.
Commissioner Aaron's?
Yes.
Didn't want to take your time out, but I thought maybe it would expedite the procedures and you wouldn't object.
Absolutely.
I
Thank
will
you very
bet, though,
much.
we will get to see and have the opportunity to talk to you next year as well, though. We won't, I bet, not make the same mistake twice.
Well, can I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So what they did, the comparables on what you guys did was just basically the same building 3 times or
Yes.
not? Okay, so is that really comparable? I mean, I just want to know for the future, is that, I know it's probably legal, but is that what would you want to get other comparables, or they're not in Harrisburg, or like, I guess I'm.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
I think the availability of townhome units that have sold in the last 2 years isn't in great supply in Harrisburg.
Okay.
You know, most of them are brand new. They
Okay.
haven't sold.
Sure.
There happened to be a group that did sell.
Okay.
So those are the ones that were.
Those are the ones that sold.
Yep.
Okay,
I don't think there was anything that was even exactly like yours.
right. And I think that's part of the problem too with the whole.
I want to continue, I want you all to continue to be able to talk, but as
Okay.
far as this committee goes, we'll
Yep.
be in recess now.
We have
Thank
some
you.
people here for something. Hi.
We're at the last number
Yep,
on the
so let's-
docket.
All right, which parcels are, what are you?
They're with us.
Oh, excellent.
We're a family.
Perfect.
You were thinking you had to do some more
I just
work?
wanted to make sure we didn't miss somebody.
This was the same thing.